Welcome back to the 11th annual Halloween special. I hope you guys are having fun. Tonight we're talking about a new release called When Evil Lurks. The film hails from Argentina and is directed by Demián Rugna, the man behind Terrified. And here in a remote village, two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the man, but merely succeed in helping him deliver the inferno. That's the logline that's on IMDb, but trust me, the movie goes much deeper than that. I had never heard of this film before. People were just saying it was good, people that I trusted, and so I went to a theater 45 minutes from my house tonight and saw it. I was the only person there. It was the very last showing before everything closed. And this ended up being one of the most brutal and vicious movies I've seen in years. The film holds nothing back. In an early scene, a character that isn't normally given such a gruesome fate in a movie is. And from then on, I was like, all right, I guess everyone's expendable. Anything can happen. I have no idea what to expect. Which is unfortunately a very unique feeling to have when watching a movie because we're so accustomed to how these things play out. And not that we can predict everything and not that we don't sometimes give ourselves over to a movie and just let it wash over us. But you sometimes get to the ending of a film and you're like, well, yeah, that's how it would have happened, I guess. I've seen that many times and that's how movies play out. When Evil Lurks doesn't feel that way at all. The film is breathlessly paced. Our hero, if you can even call him that, is running from terrible event to terrible event, jumping into his car and driving to yet another awful event. It's just terrible shit followed by more terrible shit. But I mentioned that you can't really refer to this guy as a hero because in so many ways he's not. And the movie deals largely with consequences, the results of really poor decisions in life coming back to haunt you. The film does an excellent job at keeping information from us. It holds us at bay quite often. We learn things as the characters learn things. If they stumble across a new piece of evidence that's very gruesome, that might lead them to something else that's very gruesome, we learn it when they learn it. So I wouldn't call the movie suspenseful because you build suspense by putting the audience ahead of the characters. We know somebody's in that room, and so we don't want our hero to go into that room. But they don't know that. And so we're ahead of them and we feel that suspense. We don't get that here. This movie is shocking, though, because we are withheld so much information, and when things happen, Demián Rugna does not cut away from them and lets us see these horrible events in all of their glory. So he bypasses suspense in favor of shock, and I think it works very well. But back to my original point about our protagonist not exactly being a very good person, we are withheld so much information even about him that we eventually uncover, and very early, this is not a spoiler, I'm talking about like the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, that he has a family. We also learn that he never paid child support, he wasn't around for his kids, he essentially abandoned them, and his kids don't even feel like visiting him. And he makes choices in the movie that I didn't agree with. He does things that seem stupid, that continue his plight, that makes it worse for him and everyone else, including those he loves. And you watch him make these choices and you realize it is genuinely out of ignorance. He's not a smart man and he makes poor choices. But what's different here from a protagonist in, say, a very familiar cliche horror movie that consistently makes stupid choices that anger us when we watch them is that he genuinely believes he's trying to do the right thing, but he keeps screwing up. And I found that to be an amazing risk that has been taken with this character that paid off because the film also keeps punishing him for his awful choices. Now, the logline says demon infected, and the characters in the movie refer to some of these really grotesque things they come across as the possessed. And if I were to say that this movie is about possession or about demons, you might get an idea of what the film is like in your mind based off of every movie, including one that's out right now. And it's not like that at all. I almost don't want to say it's a possession movie, even though kind of technically it is in a way, because it feels more biological. But I will say that out of the two movies that are currently out in theaters, this one in a limited release and the other one in an extremely wide release, and just so happened to be #1 at the box office last weekend, that also deal with possession, I would say you see this one. This one is the one to see out of those two films. Along with the risks that he's taking with his lead character, he takes equal risks in potentially angering audiences by lingering on some violence that truly is shocking. There are 3 moments in this movie that made me actually like vocally exclaim out loud. Again, I was the only one in the theater, so I felt comfortable doing so, but usually my jaw doesn't drop when I watch a movie, and it happened here twice. A couple years ago, I mentioned that I have a pretty strong stomach when it comes to horror movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, is one of the only movies that I cannot eat while watching. I mentioned that in my review of that film. Most of the time, though, I can watch anything and have a sandwich in my hand and a drink in the other. It doesn't bother me. This movie, though, it enters into that rare collection of movies that I will never eat while watching. There are some extremely nauseating images in this film that will stay with me for a while, and I did not enjoy it. It's good. I'm not saying that, like, it's bad. It was gross. It grossed me out. And the director does not want to cut away from some of this shit. He wants you to look at it and be like, isn't this disgusting? And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's really sick, man. Why? Why'd I have to look at that? But what's great about it is that despite the sickening visuals and the gore and the shocking images that are in the film, it does get to you on an emotional level. The film is very deep, and it explores how a man that's made all the wrong choices in his life might start reaping the consequences of those choices, and like a lot of great horror films, doesn't really provide an easy way out. It's playing in a limited release right now. It's going to be on Shudder later this month, but please do try to see it in a theater. You don't get a chance to see films like this in theaters that much. I know VOD is tempting, but just go to the theater and support this. It's worth it. It's nasty, man. It's a gross movie, but it's good. I liked it. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for watching. Look forward to more videos in the 11th annual Halloween special coming your way very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.